the horse on the, on the blinders on the big, the thing at the parades. All you see is one way. If you see one way, you don't see anything else coming.
Yeah.
And eventually something's going to come and knock you off.
Yeah.
And so to be able to see that and recognize it before you run into the problems is what a lot of business owners don't see. They're one tracked. Hey, I'm going to make this product. Or I'm going to do this. They don't see anything else that's going around in the world. And then their business dies because of simple stuff. It could be COVID. It could be, hey, a law change. It could be a, permitting change. It could be anything. And if they can't see it coming, they can't adjust their business, and it could ruin their business.
Yeah.
Welcome to the In the Arena podcast. My name is Jared Miguez, a co-host on this podcast that brings you the inspiring stories of our clients who are leaders and innovators across different industries in Southeast Louisiana. They are visionary entrepreneurs, savvy real estate professionals, media creators, military business owners, and community champions. And we are going to showcase the remarkable achievements and share their personal stories. Tune in for insightful conversations, valuable lessons, and motivational stories that are going to reveal their secrets to success and offer you insights to help you on your own path. Welcome to In the Arena Podcast.
Welcome to the In the Arena Podcast, guys. I'm really excited to talk with Glenn and Jason from BBSI today. Making an impact on St. Tammany Parish. We got to have dinner with them last night. Got to learn a lot about you guys. I'm excited to tell our audience and the Southeast Louisiana community what you guys are about.
And how much meat you ate last night?
Yeah. I'm still feeling that today.
Copious. Blood sausage.
Yeah.
Copious amount. Blood sausage.
La Boca?
La Boca was great.
Delicious.
So let's get started on, I know, Glenn, you've been here, born and raised. Tell a little bit about your background and who you are and what you've done in your career.
Yeah, so, started with another payroll company years ago, kind of transitioned out of that and actually went into small business myself. Kind of born and raised in, my whole family's kind of been entrepreneurs. Both my brothers owned construction companies at one time. So I was, when I left the corporate world, kind of got back into that, got back into construction, Ida hit, a lot of stuff going on here, kind of tore up the place, not quite as bad as Katrina, but really put a down spin on things. And so when I left that other company, I kind of went full-fledged into that. I got approached by BBSI, I guess about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And was just like, I'm not going back to corporate.
How did they find you?
Recruiter, actually.
Nice.
Recruiter just randomly reached out and pretty much told him I wasn't interested. Like,
You're so cool, Glenn.
Nah.
People looking for you and stuff.
That's cool.
And didn't want to go back in the corporate world. Was like, look, I have certain values and certain things that, I wasn't able to do before. And so, because corporate kind of puts handcuffs on you. And 7 interviews later, it's a different company. It's a different process. It's a different mission. Their people are their product. They're not just selling a product and saying, hey, here it is, buy it, have fun, buy, it's really a people driven, and they care about their businesses that they bring on board.
Yeah.
They want to know, understand, and help them grow, not just sell them something and move on.
Yeah. So we'll get into what BBSI does in a second, but let's talk about the other guy here.
Yeah.
So we met last night,
Yeah.
and so Jason, you are a regional leader or national leader for the company, recruiting guys like Glenn. So tell us about your history a little bit and what your role is.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I thought it was me that brought you to BBSI.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was a little disappointed.
It was a recruiter.
But no, when
Small
I got
hearts.
to meet Glenn, and it's such an honor to be here with you guys, because the biggest reason I came to BBSI was the same thing. I wanted to be part of my community. I wanted to offer something to business owners that was, not just a product, but a solution that could really help them. Just want to help business owners win. If you look at my history and everything, I just love being part of business.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be straight up. Like, I don't really have the guts to run my own business. Like, I've always been that guy too.
Mm-hmm.
But I love business owners. Like, I just have the most admiration, respect, what they do. And when I heard about a PEO, how it works, it was like, well, this is really interesting in how I can help my community with something that's, part of a very large company. But like Glenn said, I didn't want to be a commodity. Never wanted to be. I'm a terrible employee. Just straight up. If you ask my leaders, they'll probably agree. But I have a lot of fun, and I'm very entrepreneurial minded, because pretty much all my life I grew up around business owners, and I know how they think, what the risks they take, the different things, and probably applied that in my career. But yeah, the reason I came into BBSI was actually from Boise, Idaho.
Yeah.
So to be sitting here with you here today and get to see everything in this community. And because of Glenn, it's pretty awesome.
St. Tammany
Because
Parish, not county.
yeah.
Right.
Did I say county?
We're not counties.
Parish.
No,
I didn't say
but
county.
He was just getting ahead of it, you
just
know?
getting ahead of it.
Because I was going to do it.
Yeah.
Because he's a good local leader.
Exactly.
That's what
He's incredible.
So tell us what BBSI does.
Yeah. So BBSI, when I heard about it in Boise, Idaho, like I said, I think the coolest part about it was, I thought it was a payroll company, like straight up. They were recruiting me, same thing, getting recruited. And I was very happy in what I was doing. I was doing like workforce solutions, workforce design. And I was, in the top 1% of my company. So it was kind of one of those calls like Glenn had, where it's like, I don't know if I'm interested. But when they told me what they did with business owners and how it was a PEO, I had to Google. I literally had to Google. If you don't know what a PEO is, like Google it. You'll figure it out. But it was just kind of a step above where they offered the people and they offered this customized team to business owners. And because I understood business and I worked with a lot of business owners, I was like, man, if this could be educated in my community, people would latch onto this thing. And if we do it right, like truly make it local, because that's, Glenn, we selected Glenn because of what you guys were talking about, his background, his history, that is, he's an entrepreneur. So like, as soon as he said no, that was probably, the recruiter was even more attractive, like, okay, well, let's talk about this because we really want you to understand like the power of what this is. So a PO, just essentially we have a thing, it's called YBBSI. You can look at it, bbsi.com. But you just take a look at that and it'll show you exactly how we deliver the PEO, which is basically professional employer service, to the owners. And the owners then get to have this whole team, payroll professional, human resource consultant, a risk consultant, and also a business partner that comes alongside them. If they tried to hire this, it's like you try to hire that team, with the experience we offer, it's like a $600,000 investment in payroll. So a lot of owners will scale towards those things as they grow. But with us, you can kind of have that right away, lease it, and then have this full team to kind of scale and grow the business.
Nice.
So there's a lot more to it. There's like a million services we offer underneath that. But essentially, it just allows the owner to put this team in place that now assists you so that you can truly focus on the business.
Yeah.
Because I haven't been an owner yet that's like, man, I can't wait to put these operation systems in. Like, well, maybe Lauren, but other than that, it's like they really love their business because of what Glenn was saying. Hey, I want to be in construction. I want to be in restoration. I want to do, this XYZ. I want to develop this product, and when you really hear their passion, that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
And that's what they're good at.
That's what they're good at.
And they're pulled away from it constantly. And
Exactly.
their businesses start sinking. And then that makes me sad and angry.
And that's, yes. And when you see that and when you meet them and you talk to them, they're generally struggling in the areas that the PEO helps with. So then when you can break that down and show them a solution, then they're like, all right. And it is an education thing where you're going to have to scale this in your business. It's an investment, but long-term, this is what it should produce.
Yeah.
And if we can just help business owners, like, it's just like 10% more, that is the difference between failure and success. So we try to do that where we put those teams in place to really help the business owner win. And then to what Glenn's saying, we hire Glenn because Glenn will install the team, but Glenn always remains with the customer too. So in other companies, they may sell and then that salesperson goes away after the demo, after the fancy, they'll be like, we'll call the 1-800 number. Here it's like, no, Glenn will
Call
always
his cell
be
phone
there.
number. That's the biggest thing that I think separates us and really truly brought me to BBSI was the team. So you don't just get a 1-800 number, you get their cell phone numbers. We were out at dinner last night. We had drinks before that. I had to walk out because I had a client call me. Like, sorry guys, got to answer this. I know we're in a business meeting, but it's 8:00 at night. I don't know what he needs. Let me find out.
Yeah.
And it was simply like, hey man, I need to set this up to run payroll and go through the system again. We onboarded somebody. Just want to double check. Perfect. I'll get you lined up. Let's do it. 8:00 at night. And I want people to feel comfortable to do that.
Yeah.
If you need something, that's what we're here for. I think like you were
That's how you
hitting
do
on
it with the car. You got Freddie involved, who's
Right.
our payroll consultant.
Yep.
Talking to Freddie. Freddie then calls the customer. Freddie updates Glenn. Glenn knows. Now we're done.
Yep.
Moving forward. So things like that.
like you were saying earlier, I think Lauren, you say it best is what do you say? The work on your company, not in your company.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is, I think very, very powerful. I think way too many people, like you said, they want to make cheese. Well, they get in because they like making cheese and they love cheese, but they don't know jack squat about anything else. But then something goes wrong and now they're working in it and not growing it. And, I think a lot of people don't have the mindset to set back and see where it's growing and where it's going, and it's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a struggle.
Y'all had when we asked yesterday, and we talked about y'all's ideal client.
Yeah.
And y'all said it's a company that has about 5 to 20 employees. I think that's when we see, especially around here, you have a lot of businesses that have a lot of great culture and have a lot of great ideas. And at that 5 to 6, 7, 8 employee ranges, whenever they have to spend almost more time on the administrative duties of managing those people and the process, and they takes them away from what they're passionate about. And that's when you have people lose the flame and they get frustrated with their business. So I mean, we see it all the time. And that's usually when they call us to say, hey, like, what do I need to do to fix this? Like, what are y'all doing that's different that allows y'all to continue to grow and move and stay passionate about what you do? And it's processes, but also it's leverage. It's finding the right team players to help you and telling people about this service is great, because I think that part of that is the admin work that just gets in people's way.
The ultimate compliment to us is that we move out of, at first it's a conversation and almost feels like a sale, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're presenting and we're showing them. But the ultimate compliment is when the owner will come back and say, Glenn, thank you so much. You're a partner in my company. You're part of my company.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where we're like, all right, we're doing the right work here. And, the biggest thing I tell owners too, just kind of piggyback on what you just said, was when you put a PO in, it gives you a scalable system that a lot of the owners are thinking about that first paycheck, let's have the business generate. But there's a second paycheck and you're building an asset. You're building something that is a brand, a name, things that you guys talk about with specialization. And to do that, if the more scalable systems you can put in place, that is when you go to sell that business, or maybe somebody wants to buy it, when you can show people that is what makes it that asset. And so getting owners to kind of think about, okay, is this a job or is this a business?
Yeah.
And because sometimes owners, let's be real, like they're buying jobs.
They don't have a business. Yeah.
Yeah.
you've
The
said that
constant
multiple times.
conversation
Yeah.
that I have to have around here.
Yeah.
I call them the one-man shows, right?
Yeah.
Big, successful, amazing businesses
Yeah.
that have been greatly contributing to our community. And it's like, okay, I'm going to retire. This is my legacy. And it's like, oh, bro, you don't even have a business.
Right.
Yeah.
You have you doing
You hold all
something
the
amazing
relationship.
for a while, but you hold all the relationships.
That's it.
You have all the know-how. So if you could just get with them through, y'all's program and the stuff that we do, and
Yes.
together it builds out a saleable entity or a transferable entity, whether you're transferring it to a child, or a nephew, or just a really good employee that's been with you for a really long time. But you become, options. They become options for them.
Well,
and
I
they
see-
actually have a legacy.
Taking it even a step further, I had a conversation yesterday with somebody, and they're in real estate, and they were wanting to know what I thought about joining a team.
Yeah.
And I tell everybody, you have to make sure that they do business the way that you do.
That's
Right
right.
now, you might have a pain point that you're trying to get solved, and that joining that team might help you. And that usually, right now, the pain point in real estate is just having business in general. I said that, like, you got to know how and what you need, and how that person is going to offer you leverage. And if it's in a area you don't need it, then it's not the right team for you.
That's right.
But if it's an area that you do need it, then that might be a good opportunity for you. And it's not, can you double your business, but can you 10x your business by joining that team?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you're just giving up leverage. You're not going to enjoy what you're doing.
And most people are not good at managing people, which is why y'all are so important to businesses, right? I mean, to be honest, no one
That's the hardest part.
goes into business like, I cannot wait to manage a bunch of people and then operate their payroll and know all the human resorce rules. I can't wait.
That's my favorite part of what we do.
Literally,
Yeah.
literally no one goes into business with that mindset. So
Well,
it's
most
just
people don't even realize. They're
beautiful.
like, hey, I'm going to grow this business. And they're like, what do I need? Oh, I need employees? Holy cow.
Yeah.
I mean, they just don't know. They don't know
and then
how
I
many
have to
they need.
communicate with them and set expectations. What?
Right.
Yeah. And that the human factor is such a critical part to building the culture. And the culture sets that brand, it sets the name, it sets, what is the end client experience, which a lot of owners, when they can think about that, and again, goes back to just everything you're putting in place is the end goal of what is your customer experience. And I think, like us just talking, because I'll get excited about this, but like just business in general, right? Like, let's look at it since COVID. Like, I feel like COVID was such an interesting reset for all of us, to where some businesses flourished, but some businesses, they actually lowered their bar. Well, we were just at a thing the other day, and I noticed I was like scanning the QR code. Wouldn't it have been so much better just to have, I want the full menu. It was like an experience, right? I want to look at it. I want to, rather than on my phone, but that was like a thing that created, just lessened, the place was awesome, but it lessened the experience, right?
Yeah.
And so everything we do as owners to set that culture, the communication, the people, the user's end experience, like I get really excited about that
Yeah.
because that excellence is like, just like we went to dinner last night. Where was it again?
La Boca.
La Boca.
I mean, I'll put that place was amazing, but it was like everything was just right.
Mhm.
The atmosphere, the lighting, the way the waitress was talking to us and
Yeah.
having interaction, and the sauces, like all the little things.
Jared,
like,
were there sauces?
Oh,
Jared,
sauce.
let's talk about those sauces.
Yeah,
I think
Jared
he-
likes
I think
sauce,
he need-
people.
I think you need another 40-ounce steak. I think he could have handled it.
I mean, there was
though,
at
for
some
sure.
point that I think there was an empty plate, and he
Oh,
was
yeah.
just swirling his fork and continuously
Yeah.
getting every bit of sauce off the
Just
plate.
thinking about it.
I'm so good at I'm so good at eating that I know where the full meter is all the way up to like the bottom of my throat. Like I can know when
You're still feeling it this morning,
Yeah.
though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's right here.
Your eyes are
He
half
could have had
closed
one
as
more
he's
blood
metabolizing.
sausage, but he cut it off. He
Yeah.
said, "Nope, this is the last one."
Yeah.
But
So-
you're absolutely right. That standard and
That is
paying
it.
attention. And I think, like you said, you've watched people change in business. I get excited about that too, because it challenges you on how you're going to pivot
Yeah.
and challenges you to really know your client,
Yeah.
your true ideal client, and how you're helping them. If you
That's
know
right.
their challenges and you know the experiences that they enjoy. And that's the part that I think when people are so busy in the business, they're forgetting about.
Right.
That's the on the business part. And I love that y'all allow, kind of guidelines for people to establish what that is. You have people that are successful for years and still have never identified who their client is.
Yeah.
They've just been lucky or really good at something, right? And that's when the difference between scaling a
Yeah.
company and just being successful.
Let's dive into that a little bit more because I think something
Yeah,
I really
that's good.
enjoyed us talking about last night was not only is it important for you guys to align with values, and you made this a couple points about this last night of the businesses y'all are trying to onboard. You're not trying to onboard anybody, right? They need to be
I
people.
think you
that y'all
said they
can-
can't be an asshole, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
but y'all are looking.
Glenn
for,
said that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm okay with
I
some
mean,
asshole.
look, we're working with them. You know, if you look at your ideal client and you're doing
Yeah.
landscaping, it's not somebody that lives in an apartment.
Mhm.
You know, it's not going to be your ideal client. We want sexy clients.
Mhm.
I mean,
Sexy clients.
Yeah, well, that's why we fit the mold. But I think, but like we talk a lot about making sure that you understand what your values are and the
That's
type
it.
of people that you want to do business with.
That's right.
Yep.
And so y'all have a unique perspective because y'all are not just selling something and then walking away. It's important that not only the clients fit your values, but the employees that y'all are employing on the HR team fit the same values that you have because it's y'all are almost having to mold it twice, right? Like when we hire an employee, we go through a test to make sure that they understand what
That's
our
right.
values are, what we expect, and how we expect them to operate. And we identify our values and define them specifically. So it's not just leadership. It's like leadership means this to us.
Yeah.
And if you think that you are a leader or leadership is important to you, is our version of leadership important to you.
right.
So y'all are trying to identify clients that embody some values that y'all can align with, but also now you're taking a team of people, the HR team you're going to put together in New Orleans, now have to also align with those values.
That's right.
And you as the salesperson have to make sure that not only the values that you have and the clients you're bringing on, they align with the people that you bring in. Because you
Correct.
putting those people together, you're relying on this team you put together to work with these clients in a specific way.
Correct.
So y'all have a process for that? How does that usually work?
Yeah, I mean, we started going down that road, like what we built. I could probably compare it to what we built in Boise as probably a great example. Is like, for what I was telling you at dinner last night, it's like that team has to match the community. And I think that's when we met. We met over a year ago, I think was one of my first
Yeah.
trip here
Yeah.
to Normal. And
When
I
I
was
shifted
so
your coaster back. Yeah.
Yes. It's a funny story about that, but no, I was so drawn to Arena because you guys focus on those things. You're really focused on like Lauren was very interested in like, well, how do you do that? How do you deliver that? How do you match up to the customer? What do you do? And I knew that Lauren was the right I was telling Glenn because Glenn was introducing us, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Glenn, like you need to work with Arena because like they're matching up to who we are.
Mhm.
And Glenn's like, well, duh, that's why I introduced you. But no, it was so good because that community aspect that you're talking about was what we built in Boise and what Glenn will build here. And that's a big thing with BBSI is like, okay, we are the national company. We're 9 billion in revenue. We're publicly traded. We're a debt-free company. But we like to make it super local and customized to every client. And that's probably our secret sauce. Why BBSI? It's a little bit different. Is that those people that we're delivering match the local community. So what you get in Boise is probably going to be very different here in New Orleans, but it'll match the culture. It'll match what
I wouldn't make
what
it
you
in
guys
Boise.
have. Yeah.
I wouldn't make it in Boise.
Right.
I love
There's no way.
I
But it's
just
customized.
I
Yeah.
love the beauty behind understanding that you have the 9 billion resource
Yeah.
applied to a local community.
That's it.
Like the balance of those two things is so important
Yeah.
to me because I think there's so many small businesses that don't understand
Right.
how easy business truly can be, right? Like I'm there with them through all the funny memes of like entrepreneurship is killing you and you got Beth beat up from Yellowstone.
Yeah.
It's like this is being an entrepreneur. And it's like
So true.
yes, like it does feel like that every Tuesday morning,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have to.
Yep.
Right? You can live through that, but if you understand that you have 9 billion of resources right here through Glenn,
right.
and not only is that your intention to provide that to the community, but you intend to actually train
That's
and
right.
teach locals
Yep.
for your team and build your own local team.
Yeah.
Like our mission and our purpose is the St. Tammany ecosystem. And so
That's it.
that's why I asked those questions when I met you, because
Yeah.
if you're going to contribute to our
That's right.
local ecosystem,
That's right.
you could be part of the arena,
Which-
right?
which we
And if
loved.
you have an outside company and there wasn't an intention to build this local team,
No.
it wouldn't have been a good fit for us,
No.
right?
Yeah.
But I know Glenn, unfortunately, very well. So I know he's homegrown. And I'm excited to see what that looks like. And I'm excited to see the growth of individuals. I mean, just last night, we identified somebody that Jared knows that we
Yeah.
can connect and hopefully build, as a future local person here.
Yeah, we'll plant that flag. I mean, the reason I got off on Boise is like we're gonna build it all here. We're gonna
Yeah.
build a local team. We're gonna have brick and mortar. We're gonna invest in the community. We want to be part. We've already started investing. You guys saw that
Yeah.
last night with another partner. I mean, we're throwing money out. We're doing the things we need to do because we want to be part of the.
Yeah.
We want Glenn. That was the only reason Glenn came.
100%.
Was like, hey, Glenn, you're gonna be able to build this. You're gonna be able to have this, and we want to empower you to build that. So
Let me ask you this, and this is just a curious question because and I feel like this, as businesses start to expand, they try to create efficiencies within the organization
Yeah.
and centralize things, and it almost comes across as more corporate. So, like,
right.
what is it about BBSI?
Mhm.
What happened there? What did the ownership decide to say, we're going to continue not to try to centralize this in Houston or in New York? We're going to continue to build within the local communities?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, as part of our
This is
growth
great.
too, it's a
Yeah.
goal of doing that. And it's always, the farther you get from the nucleus of the company, the harder it is to keep the culture in place.
Yeah.
So what does BBSI do from an internal standpoint to keep the culture in place?
I think,
You start.
I think the biggest thing is they let you own your. I mean, it's everything that I'm compensated on is based off of what we do here.
Yep.
Has nothing to do with anything else. So my team, what we bring on, how we communicate, how we keep customers, how we get out in the market, how we get out in the community is all here. We're not, bottom line is here. It has nothing to do with what Houston's doing.
Nope.
It's zero. It's literally like,
It's not a franchise model or a license
No.
model.
it's
I
not,
think. That's
but you can look at it like that. That's basically what it is. Everything comes down to my P&L at this location, period.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Glenn's
So-
vice president of
I've
Yes,
always
sir.
looked at that
Yeah.
as like conditional thinking processes,
Yeah.
right? It's the next step after I work with someone and we establish their SOPs, their standard operating procedures, right? But those are guidelines.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you still have to be training people that
Yeah.
these are the challenges of the client that you're facing. So how do you use conditional thinking
Yeah.
so that you're meeting their needs and also following the process? So you got to have some wiggle room so that you don't create what Jared's referring to is that bottleneck that you've
Yeah.
over processed an organization, right? So as long as they are teaching you, this is how we assist,
That's
this
what
is
we do.
how we connect,
Yeah.
Mhm.
then you're going to have that conditional thinking.
Yeah, we have so we're decentralized actually, and I have not met, and this is another reason I came, was I've never met a company as large as ours that's decentralized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I report directly to our COO and CEO. Glenn actually reports to them too. I'm just kind of a dotted line. There's no middle management in BBSI. We empower with a framework.
Mhm.
So to your process, we have a basic product framework, and it's the bones of BBSI. Like this is what we do. It's a circle. Like we do this every day, and we help business owners win, and we help our partners, and we compensate them for those partnerships, and we build it like this, right? And he has that, and we take that to the markets, and that's where we customize to the local marketplace, and we become part of the community.
So
So
you're a
that-
damn good translator, is what you are.
I try. I try to be.
That's
I-
what you are.
but I
between
love
them.
it. I truly because I've been in those owners' offices, like the experiences. That's what drew me to you so much is your client stories and how you help people win. I mean, that's what I love to do.
Right.
So I'm like, man, it's gonna be a great partnership because I want them to understand like that's our heart. That's what our company loves to do. And you were talking about like when they come on and they in the community, our average, people stay with BBSI 10 plus years. So you think about that from a payroll or PO's perspective, that's the average. So you take that on 8,500 customers, it's more like 15 plus years,
Yeah.
and we will scale with that owner. So the services that I mentioned, I don't tell you, like, I don't give you a list, because the people scale with the business. And as they add on and we'll scale our services. So it's just so fun to be a part of that, because now you're part of the journey. Now you get to tell the stories.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's inspiring I mean, again, I've been a part of organizations that weren't able to keep the culture across offices, and it creates separation. And
oh yeah,
to know, like, to see y'all as big as you are, be able to do that, makes me want to change our business model completely so that we can grow and
just
open
open a bunch
offices all
more.
over
We're
the
still
world.
focusing on St. Tony Parish.
So,
So,
open a bunch more.
moving on.
You know?
Moving on. No.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
look,
good. This is good talks.
$9 billion companies say that all day long, and huge company, right? But it feels like, I mean, I've got direct access to the CEO. Like, not that I need to go there, but I mean, if I could, like, and it's no,
And he
like,
encourages
hey,
that,
yeah,
right?
he's like, hey, reach out. I mean, the Gerald, our his COO,
COO.
he reached out, sent an email out to all of us, our team. Hey, we want some feedback from y'all specifically. It's like they care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not just some bullshit. They care. They want to know, hey, how can we improve? How can we be better? You know, I think one of the slogans is your feedback is expected, it's not optional. What was it? What was the quote he uses? I don't know. But you know, it's expected.
They really care what it is, though.
They really care. You know, they
Well,
care.
it was feedback on our core, which is want to know about the owner experience.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so they were asking all the market development managers, like, I truly want to hear from you. Is that being performed at this level? And so there was feedback points on that because of what you said, like, is it consistent? So that it's great check. Like, I love that stuff. And I don't get offended. I'm not like, why is Gerald asking about? Like, he's talking to me, but he wants to hear it. And I love that because he needs to hear it.
Yeah. Well, when you build a culture of open communication, no one gets offended by it.
Exactly.
But you have to be consistent with it.
Like, what's the end goal? Just make our business
be
owners
better.
win. Be
For
better.
Sure. Just be better. No matter what. You can always improve.
Yeah.
So we talked last night about the DISC assessment.
Yeah.
So how is that integrated into the process at all, or you just have experiences with it and you understand the concept?
Yeah, definitely not part of our company's. Certain. This is what's funny about the decentralized part is, like, some people like really are big embracers. I love it.
Yeah.
Strength finders, evaluating that, understanding different people's. I love it. So, but
that's when we bring y'all in. When we really got
but we can do that, and that's what you'll see is, like, again, to the local and the regional, or whatever experience, we'll customize leadership trainings, different things. Our human resource consultants, every one of them has experience. They're like VP level, but they're hired for what we're talking about. We're like, well, you're excellent here, you're excellent in this area, and so all of them will do different things. We don't. It's not like everybody does. We let them. Everybody has like different options and different tools.
But once you understand the value of the DISC assessment, then you understand that self-awareness is like the key to being a great leader and success. So you start implementing those things into what you do every day, even if you don't intend to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we study the DISC assessment so much that you just interact with people and you can identify, you talk DISC in the back of your brain to help you get through a situation, even if you don't even intend to get to, even if it wasn't spoken out loud.
That's right.
And so it's just interesting that, a company that understands leadership at the level that y'all do, has some DISC integrated into it, because it's one of my favorite behavioral assessments and tools to use to help identify leaders and grow with people and communicate with people at the end of the day.
And get yourself in check.
Yeah.
Do you guys do this? Like, now that you know DISC so well, I do this. And you don't even, this person hasn't done it yet, but you're like,
oh, you already know.
I wonder if they're like, you can already kind of like
we'll
figure
walk
it
out of
out.
the room and be like, okay, that was a.
Sometimes we'll just start talking about it in front of them and they're like,
what's going on? What are y'all talking about?
What are you talking about?
The only thing I get frustrated about is, and I don't want to say misuse, because it's not misuse, it's proper placement, but I think that sales organizations sometimes overuse the DISC assessment for the intent of identifying who fits in that category. You're correct. Yeah. Like, certain people, certain personality types are going to be better salespeople, right? Sure. But when you get into that environment, you expose people to it without teaching them how it can be a tool for awareness for them to benefit them, even if they're not a salesperson and fit in that category, they start to think that personality types are inferior.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating because an organization that operates efficiently has every personality type in it.
Yep.
Just have them in the right freaking role.
That's right.
Right. And so I saw that a lot in real estate because, again, I added real estate to my career much later than I had been in the business world. And it was just an industry that I didn't touch. And in that industry, they're building relationships with people. So you can put that in a sales category, right? And so they literally walk around like there's a badge of honor because I'm a D, I'm an I, like I got this. And it's like, okay, you're just overly aggressive and you're emotional. Like get over yourself. So like me as a business owner and from the outside, I'm just like, stop. Like you're making yourself look like a fool.
Yeah.
You need to go work on yourself. You need to understand who you are and what your gifts are. Then you'll have a business. Yeah. Right now, you're just somebody flaunting around town thinking that you got it all. Like, to me, it's so really hard to watch that misuse rather than truly using it as a tool for awareness. Yeah. Because then when you do that and you start to value the people that compliment you, that's when you start to grow.
Yeah. And leadership development is just, I'm glad we're talking about that because as owners, we do an exercise called ABC Players. And it kind of like you're always like you're either growing or you're shrinking, and we'll show like when you 3x business, the owner you were when you started versus that owner when you 3x your business. If you don't grow, you're now a C player in your own business and you're running the company. And so I love what
some
you're
people
saying.
have to do.
They have
There's
to do.
also a place for leaders to step down.
Yes,
when you're not the leader,
and
that is leadership.
That? Yeah,
that is leadership.
Because they're like, well, I'm great here.
Yeah.
But I need someone that's going to run this company because I haven't stepped up into that role or maybe just didn't want to.
Yeah, it's a lack of humility most of the time.
It is.
It's a complete lack of self-awareness. But, one of the most proudest things and the thing that brings the most confidence to somebody who is a DI is to have the other personalities around you and behavioral and be on the same level as they are, making decisions on the same level. Yeah. Not like, the DI is the one who's like the final decision maker because it's usually going to be emotional and impulsive. But having the DC as your operator and the SI and the SC all in key roles in ownership, we all make decisions from a different perspective, and it usually is something that's going to sustain us long term and helps somebody like me who is a DI that can put things in a different perspective and calm down a little bit.
Yeah.
And I one of the proudest things for me is to have partners that are not in the same quadrant of the disc assessment that I am, so we can grow.
Well,
and
you
usually
you get blinders.
Oh, 100%.
It's it's like the horse on the on the blinders on the big the thing at the parades. All you see is one way. If you see one way, you don't see anything else coming. Yeah. And eventually something's going to come and knock you off.
Yeah.
And so to be able to see that and recognize it before you run into the problems is what a lot of business owners don't see. They're one track, hey, I'm going to make this product or I'm going to do this. They don't see anything else that's going around in the world. And then their business dies because of simple stuff. It could be COVID. It could be, hey, a law change. It could be a, permitting change. It could be anything. You know, and if they can't see it coming, they can't adjust their business, and it could ruin their business.
Yeah. Yep. So let's just pivot a little bit. We talked a lot about y'all's family last night. So, tell me about how integrated your family is in Slidell and what Slidell means to you. Because I know, like, we're talking a lot about the community and what we want. I want people to understand how involved in the community that your family is.
Yeah.
Slidell, a great city.
Slidell, love Slidell.
Love the
Born and raised. I tried to move a couple times. Never happens. Always come back. It's home. I'm a true Cajun. Got a mud boat, hunt, fish. I mean, that's what I love to do. We got some alligator tags this weekend.
It's Friday.
We're gonna get some alligators.
You call that boat a mud boat?
It is.
It is a mud boat.
It's a mud boat. It's a 24-foot mud boat, but it's still a mud boat.
I don't know. It's like a Corvette.
it's so born and raised here. Slidell High, powerlifting. Actually,
it's sad. I didn't realize.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, salmon lover.
Kelly Green, the Spartans.
Yeah. Actually, just took a job assistant coach at Pope John Paul, helping powerlifting. It was one of my passions that I had a long time ago when I was fit and young.
Yeah.
Now I'm old and fat, but I love it. I love seeing them succeed. I think that's I've won national champions and set all kinds of records, and nothing really compares to seeing somebody hit their best lift that they've ever done. Yeah. Doesn't matter how many champions and gold medals I've won and done, like all that's way past. It's all, oh my God, like to see, your daughter set a record or win a race, like just the joy and the passion that's in their eyes just like makes everything just change. You're like, oh my God, like I just helped do that. Mm-hmm. Like it's just, it's a blessing. So really excited about that. And then my wife's a teacher at Abney. She's been teaching for, I guess, 8 or 9 years in St. Tammany Parish. Loves the kids, loves, just being a part of the community in that aspect. And just seeing like, hey, how can we help? hears what's going on. She loves teaching. So that's good. And I've got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. They both go to OLL.
Go Knights.
Yep, go Knights. They handful.
Two boys, right?
2 boys.
Yeah.
2 boys. So they're fun. They're
awesome.
They're a bunch of coon asses too.
What's the most you've ever deadlifted?
540.
Oh my goodness.
Weigh in 160. Squatted 610. Weigh in 140. 160. And then bench I think 315.
315.
315. Yeah, my bench was my worst.
Good, I bench
Worst
more than you. At least
lift.
I
Yes.
got one lift. That
Yes.
is more than you.
My bench was horrible.
Yeah.
I love
My
how
bench was
Jared's
horrible.
just seeing if he gets higher.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
counting.
Literally all he's doing.
I can
It's a competition now.
I can do about an
Always.
eighth of that now.
Yeah.
And
So
it's
imagine
really
that
sore.
all the time
That's what I was
between
just-
us.
yeah,
This
yeah,
is
it's
just
hilarious.
where we thrive. We live in the healthy competition realm, but
Yes. Always.
So as you were
Everyone's there.
recruiting Glenn, like those kind of things were important to you, right? So I mean, 'cause we talked about a lot about your young family started out young, and they're still a big part of your life.
Yeah, that's my why is my family. So getting to know Glenn, especially when we were really talking about the community, got me excited. I'll tell you my first visit here, because I told you I grew up, did everything in Boise, but they moved me to Houston, Texas for this role. And, it's a vice president role. I'm very excited to meet all the players, but like the most thing I was excited about was let's replicate in this community and help, build this in every community out there, and getting to see y'all's community. And I mean, it's one of my favorite things. I tell Glenn all the time, I'm like, well, let's go over that bridge, see the ocean, which is apparently a lake.
Yeah.
But it's just so beautiful here, and getting to know the people. It's like my favorite thing. Like we were out seeing clients yesterday, and man, just get to hear their story and like how it all fits with what y'all are talking about. And it's just, I look forward to that, seeing it duplicated and being it built in the community. But
And
I mean-
recording us in a truck. I had a friend call. He's like, man, yeah, we got some crab. Man, we're killing them fat crabs this weekend. He's like, what are y'all talking? He's literally recording me in the truck on the drive here. Like, yeah, we got 35 pounds of shrimp. He's like, what did he just say? I'm like, don't worry about it. We got some shrimp.
Well, I kept
crabs.
thinking-
you'll be gone. We'll
I
feed
kept-
you if you're here, but you're not going to be here.
I kept thinking there was a reason he called Glenn.
Yeah,
No,
the
that was
shrimp's
it.
running.
It
The
was
shrimp's
talking
running.
Shrimp
about-
are running.
Yeah,
Yes.
shrimp are
Like,
running.
I'm going to throw a cast net off my dock tonight
Exactly.
just because he said this.
Right.
I loved it.
If it
I loved
really
every
grosses
moment
you
of
out,
it.
we might throw dog food out tonight and then
And then
cast
get
net
him
tomorrow night
exactly.
to bring him to my dock.
Well, then it was great because there was a lot of banter on boat size. There was the
Yeah.
grass.
So you learned all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm learning. Yeah, and that's what I love the most about what I get to do is, of course, I took the position and the job for my family, new experience, new thing. But when I'm in the markets, like all we want to do is see it be absolutely successful to the owners and the partners and the communities we support. So that's when I think I'll get the most excited when we actually truly, Glenn's building right now, but when we build that brick and mortar and we hire that local team, you'll see me go into a whole nother level. Cause that's when that's when the most fun happens. And we get to interact so much more. We build, our offices are like what Arena's built,
Almost like
basically.
this,
It's almost
yeah.
exactly
I mean,
like it, which
yeah.
is again, reason I was like, love these guys. Cause it's like, that's what we build. We build business community centers where we want the owners to be here. We want people hanging out. We want our partners to have meetings in our office. We took a walk when we were getting before the podcast. I'm like, that one looks like it's available. We should
That's right.
Start now. Start now. Start early. Let's go.
So no, I love that. And family's always been my focus. I was married to my high school sweetheart and been married 30
Aw.
years. And, we're on the grand adventure right now. Moving from Boise, Idaho to Houston, Texas is not a small thing.
No, I
but,
can imagine.
No more
we are
coats,
having the
all
ultimate
shorts.
adventure. Yeah.
Yeah. So as we wrap up, this is one of our values is legacy.
Yeah.
And again, we're doing business with you guys, so we want to make sure our values are aligning. We've checked a lot of those boxes, but I just want to hear from both of you, personally, professionally, however you want to answer the question. Like, what legacy do you want to leave whenever you decide to hang it up?
Go ahead. Take this one first.
That's a big question.
Yeah.
I think the legacy for me, I'll just say straight up, I love Jesus. I love talking about him.
Amen.
So I think the legacy about me was that Jason loved Jesus. He loves business. He loves helping people win. And boy, he had a lot of fun along the way. Because
That's awesome.
if you go out with me, like we had dinner last night,
It's fun.
we're still laughing.
Yeah.
We just had a great time, and we're sharing about our victories, our losses, the journey, right? Because life is just a journey. And I loved meeting Jason, your husband, and we were
Y'all were
just,
peas in a pod.
oh my gosh.
Jason and Jason.
Yeah.
J and J.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, look out for that because I love the conversation, and he was talking about that when you're having conversations with anyone, you don't realize their struggles, what they're currently going through, and I think if you just have that heart of like, hey, I'm here to help, it takes the sales all away. It's just I'm here to help. Hopefully, we can make this relationship work, but in the end, I see us being great friends, and if you almost have that attitude in life, everything just kind of changes. And if you can go through that and just stay consistent in that, that'll leave a legacy that people will remember you. You'll have a lot of friends along the way. And that was a big reason I stepped into this role was like, man, I can't wait to meet people in New York City and Slidell. I didn't know Slidell was
Did
a
y'all
thing
hear
until,
that?
yeah.
You just said Slidell and New York City in the same sentence. That's the first time that's ever happened in
That
the
is the
history of the
Dell,
world.
ladies and gentlemen. That is the Dell.
And Glenn will tell you, I love coming here. Like I got off the plane, I'm all smiles. I'm like, let's go, buddy. Let's go see everybody. Let's go eat some crazy food. Like Glenn was feeding me. What were we eating that one day? The
Char-grilled oysters.
char-grilled oyster.
So
I don't
good.
like seafood, so
Well,
I
snot rockets.
Oh
apologize.
gosh,
I know.
Jason.
That may
He
check
tried
one off the list.
andouille
but,
gumbo too, and
Yeah.
Okay.
he
I ate the duck. What was the duck?
duck and andouille gumbo. huh?
Duck and gumbo. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Okay. That was great. That's fantastic.
Y'all didn't say anything right last night at the restaurant, but
No,
that's
we
all right.
didn't.
We won't go
it's okay.
there.
Yeah.
So,
That would be my
What
legacy.
you gonna? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think coming from a coaching background and going there now is just to help people win, man. I mean that's
Yeah.
you can't do it all by yourself. I mean every step along the way I've had somebody help me. I mean no matter if it's in business, if it's in school, somebody's always stepped up to the plate and helped. You just can't do it by yourself. You're young, you don't know, you're old and you don't know. It doesn't matter. But whether you're 70 and can't work an iPhone or you're 14 and can't drive, it doesn't matter. And it's just, some people are scared to ask.
Mhm.
And so just putting yourself out there to be like, hey, I'm a resource help. I don't know how many times I've helped. Hey, see someone post, hey, how do I start a business? I need to get an EIN. Man, it's easy. Like don't use Rocket Lawyer
Do
online.
not pay for
Do
your
not
EIN.
pay for your EIN.
Ugh,
It's $110. Call me. Glenn
Yeah.
France. Call me. I'll do it for you. We'll sit down. I'll buy you coffee and I'll help you set it up.
Mm.
It's just stuff like that. I mean, just the little things. I mean, it doesn't take much time. I mean, it's just being a good person, being a Christian, being, just helping hand. I mean, it's simple. It
Amen.
really is. But I think in today's society, people make it really hard.
Yeah.
And, just being known as a guy that, hey, if you need something, call me.
Cool.
I need that shirt off your back.
Come on.
Wait till
Y'all got-
we get off camera.
I got plenty of arena shirts in here. We can grab
That's
one.
right.
which shows you the heart of why we love Glenn and why he's part of this community because like none of that had to do with the PEO. It
Yeah,
has nothing
none.
to do with it.
It
But
never
he-
does.
But he'll always that's what we love to do. There'll be so many connections we make into you and because we want to help.
Yeah.
With what you guys offer too. So we're very excited to be here and
Yeah, appreciate all.
couldn't be
having
more
us. It
thrilled.
was awesome.
Yeah.
One last thing. It's an interesting idea. My little brother asks me all the time, like, how did you find what you're passionate about, what you love doing? Like, you think that wake up every day, wanting to run title and property, and no,
Never.
I'm passionate about it because it offers value to people and they appreciate it and I can help them
Yeah,
and win. So
PO is not sexy.
Yeah.
At all.
yeah,
No.
It's
But
not
Arena
sexy.
is, in case y'all forgot.
Yes.
We were dubbed a sexy organization.
BBSI sexy.
Yeah.
so well, look, I had a great conversation
Us
with you guys.
together is like
Whoa,
really
Yeah,
sexy.
really
whoa. Another level,
Forbes top 100. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
without a doubt.
Well, I got a ton of ideas that we'll talk about when
Yeah.
we get off camera today, but I really appreciate you guys.
Yeah,
I had a
appreciate
great
y'all
time
having
last
us.
night meeting Jason,
Yes.
hanging out with Glenn.
Yeah.
We look forward to growing with you guys.
Thanks
Thank
for
y'all
having
for
us.
Thank
coming
y'all
to
so
our
much.
community.
Yeah.
We're excited.
It's a
We are
blessing.
too. Thank you.
Blessing.
Later.